Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. Hope you're all doing well. Frenkie de Jong, terms agreed. We'll be talking about that amongst a lot of other things. It's good to be back. You know, I've only been off for 24 hours, but I do miss the shows when I'm away. Nice to have a break, bit of a family barbecue, a few beers, feeling a bit delicate, but this is big news. And if you were watching my Twitter timeline yesterday, you'll have seen in the afternoon I said something about wages for Frenkie de Jong, which was dropping the hint about where we're going to go today. So you can see on the screen, this was yesterday afternoon. Wages for de Jong are huge, absolutely huge. So what's basically happened with Manchester United and Frenkie de Jong over the last, 48 hours, 24 hours, 3 days. There's been a big development around what's happening with Frenkie de Jong. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to happen next week, but I think it's going to happen next week. I think it could happen. I don't think it'll happen today. It could happen tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But the most important thing is to hit the headline of the show. When we talk about transfers, we talk about agreeing terms with the player, agreeing the deal with the club, and then officially announcing it. And that's the way a transfer normally works. In the case of Jurrien Timber, we'd agreed the terms with the player. We hadn't agreed the fee with Ajax, and in that time when he went on international duty, something's gone wrong, which has left Ten Hag, devastated in a footballing sense. He can't understand it. With Frenkie de Jong, there was people saying we'd agreed terms with Frenkie de Jong weeks ago. We never did. Frenkie de Jong doesn't want to leave Barcelona, and Frenkie de Jong would not negotiate with Manchester United because he felt that there was a chance he was going to stay at Barcelona. Something's changed in the last couple of days in relation to that, and Frenkie de Jong has accepted Manchester United's terms with his agent in the sense that this deal looks like it's going to happen. These are the wages, these are the signing on fee, etc, etc. Those things have to be done. We can't just agree a fee with Barcelona this week and then start dealing with terms for 2 or 3 weeks after that. We're getting to a point with Barcelona where it will go public that we've agreed a fee very, very soon. And at that point, you then have to be getting him over because he's back in training a week tomorrow. So we've got to get those terms done. Now, the complications with the deal with Barcelona have never really been about the fee. It's always been about the timing. We've not been negotiating with Barcelona. We've been waiting on Barcelona. And Barcelona have sort of said to United on occasion, we want this, we want that, we want this. But it's all about buying time. Barcelona are negotiating with Manchester United, but they're not really. They're doing this on their terms. They want their financial levers to come in to free up their financial issues. They also want to get players in before they start announcing a sale of Frenkie de Jong. So, look, in hindsight, if we'd known all this information about a month ago, I think we all would have said this deal's going to happen next week, right before June the 30th, which is a big date. June the 30th sort of ends the football financial year. July the 1st is where contracts run out and players start being free agents. So it's a big week in that sense. And as we know, Manchester United have always said that they're not looking to do deals before they do the de Jong deal. So effectively, we've been waiting. We've been backlogged. Now, I'm going to talk about where Manchester United are on their transfer activity wider in a minute. Ronaldo, Eriksen, Antony, we'll talk about that. But it's been a very negative few days. It has. We had the dividends. We've had the lack of transfer activity. We've had other clubs doing business. But I really do sense that, from what I've been told, that Manchester United are looking at having a positive next couple of weeks. And mainly that is because there's been big developments with de Jong over recent days. I wouldn't say hours, but recent days. And also, we finally are at a point where de Jong and his agents have at least indicated to us that's the package we would want. And we couldn't do that up until recently because there was still a belief that Barcelona would keep de Jong, and he didn't want to be negotiating, talking about wages, because he didn't want to show Barcelona that there was a willingness from his side to leave. He always wanted Barcelona to basically say, you're leaving. This opens up a lot of things. I don't know whether you saw what Gerard Romero said, that there's compensation that is owed to Frenkie de Jong from Barcelona in relation to his contract, that if he did end up staying at Barcelona, he would have to take a pay cut. So there's all sorts of issues going on there. But the bottom line is, what the bottom line always has been, Barcelona want to sell Frenkie de Jong, Manchester United want to buy Frenkie de Jong, and Frenkie de Jong basically is now stuck in a situation where that's been made very clear to him, and now he's having the grown-up conversation that Barcelona is selling him, and this is what money I want. And what I would say is, there's a lot of positives in there, isn't there? There's a lot of positives. Getting those personal terms, with the player. You've got to agree terms with the player. Doesn't matter what we do with Barcelona, we've got to agree terms with the player. That has happened. We now move forward with this finalisation with Barcelona. But that's a positive. I like Frenkie de Jong. There's a video on the channel about what Frenkie de Jong is and what he'll bring to the channel. Welcome to the Members Club, Connor. Now the reality, I don't know whether you're going to like this or not, the wages are huge. Now I don't know what the wages are. I don't know what the wages are. The reason I tweeted it yesterday is because all I got was the wages are huge. Absolutely huge. I don't know what that means. I don't know whether that means we're giving him 300 grand a week and he's getting a £10 million signing on fee. I don't know whether that means we're giving him 375 grand a week. I don't know what the actual figure is. All I know is it's north of 300 grand and it's a very big package to make Frenkie de Jong happy to come to Manchester United, because it's very important that when Barcelona do finalise this deal with us and let it be public, Frenkie de Jong has to come to Manchester United with a smile on his face, and he has to come to this club willing to work. Fortunately, we've got a good relationship between Ten Hag and Frenkie de Jong, but let's be honest, we are taking a player that really would like to stay at Barcelona. But he's a realist. He can't stay at Barcelona. They don't want him. If you're married to your dream girl or boy and they say they don't want you anymore, you know, you've got to go. And basically that's what Frenkie de Jong's got to do. He's got to go out and build a life somewhere else. And Manchester United's the place for him to do that. But, you know, unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, we are paying a big price for it. And we are going to be paying a very big wage. And we are going to be talking for the next few years about another player who is being paid over £300,000 a week at Manchester United, which is way more than the likes of Salah and Mane ever got at Liverpool. So, look, you know, it's a massive, massive wage. Thoughts on... Mike LUHG says, Rajesh, mate, his heart's in the right place. I know I know, like he was arguing with me a bit last night, but the reality is when it comes to anti-Glazer, I think everybody's anti-Glazer and everyone has different ideas about it. But the bottom line is, arguing amongst ourselves is why we fail, because we just divide this fan base. So if you're tuning in, Frenkie de Jong, big step forward, terms agreed, we will get this done. There's been a big development with Manchester United and Barcelona in recent days. And most importantly, this has never really been about negotiation. I'm really interested to see what the fee's going to be, by the way, because people are all over the place. I was told middle of last week that United's fee was going to be 75 million euros plus 10 million in add-ons, which is 64 million quid plus about another 10. Let's see what it comes out at, because some people are still saying 100 million euros, some are saying 80, some are even saying we'll get him for 55 with add-ons, 55 million. So let's wait and see what happens with that. But what's become very clear to me, and I think it's becoming very clear to everybody now, is that this deal has never been the last 8 weeks of going, what, another million? No, yes, no. It was always about the timing. And it's become very clear to everybody in the industry now, this is about timing. This is about Barcelona. They could have sold us de Jong 3 weeks ago, but if they did that, they say to the world, we've got 50 million, 60 million in our pocket. That makes it hard to do a deal with Koundé, Sevilla. It makes it hard to do a deal with Lewandowski. It puts them in a difficult position with La Liga and the financial restrictions they've got. Barcelona have had to sort all these things out. And I think ultimately, as much as we don't want to hear this, I think Manchester United and Barcelona have actually worked together in an amicable way and got on. For whatever reason, United have sort of gone, take the time you need, we want the player. And Barcelona have appreciated United doing that. Now, whether you agree with that or not, because look, last week, that was a PR disaster. All week, we do no business. At the end of the week, the Glazers take the money out. United resisted, trying to force that anything. They've just gone, no, look, right, we're not going to be rushed into doing something because of the transfer window opening or the PR of getting a deal done. They've stood firm. And I will say this about Manchester United, whether you like it or not, the message is clear, crystal clear. It's the same message that's been there from day one. They are confident they will deliver the transfers that Erik Ten Hag wants. They believe they've got the sufficient funds to do that, and they're confident that they will start signing players in the immediate future. So look, let's wait and see whether that happens. I feel I still have the concern. We'll talk about the other players in a minute, but there is absolutely, I think the last video I did yesterday morning, we were talking about transfer shambles or tatters. Friday was all about the Glazers and this disgusting dividend and what they're doing to the club, and all those things still stand true. But we were always going to get some positives, and we were always going to sign some players. And ultimately, on August the 31st, we will assess this transfer window on where we are. I firmly believe that whether we get Frenkie de Jong, Antony, Eriksen, whoever, if we don't get a second midfielder or a midfielder who can actually do defensive work, I think we will struggle next year. But Frenkie de Jong, something's happened in the recent days. Barcelona are getting to a crucial week. They're getting to a crucial point with Lewandowski. They're ready now to announce this deal. And now Frenkie de Jong knows there's no way back, and is now agreed terms with Manchester United, which he was always going to do. I mean, I don't think the terms with Frenkie de Jong being agreed are surprising. It's a nice step forward because it's part of that 3-step plan: terms agreed, deal done, official announcement. So step 1's there. We should get deal done some point in the next few days, and then official announcement will be the week after, when he actually comes into Manchester United and holds the shirt up, of course. That's how I see this progressing now. So I think what we're all thinking about is what's the next deal. But timing's always been the key. And in a way, I'm glad it's gone like this. I know it's been a bit of a roller coaster, but imagine if we knew in the middle of May we're not signing any players until we've got De Jong, and that's not going to happen until the end of June. It would have been a really tough last 6 weeks, and it's been a tough last 6 weeks anyway. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Mark, thoughts on the Frenkie fee in regard to having 4 years left on his desk and being so young? Seems like a good deal despite the price, says Man Chad. Well, this is why I'm really interested to see what the fee is that we play for Frenkie de Jong, because to be honest with you, there's been a lot of smoke and mirrors around this deal, and I don't think anybody really knows what the fee is. I expect it to be around 64 million, 75 million euros with add-ons. It could be a little bit under that. I'd be disappointed if it was over that. But I don't think Manchester United have been negotiating in the sense that they've been going back and forward for 8 weeks. I really do believe it's about timing. The wages frighten me a bit, but it's better than nothing, says Joel. And to answer that previous question as well, because I felt I dodged the question a little bit. He's 25 years of age. If you'd asked me 6 months ago who are the best midfielders in Europe, he would be in the top 10. I'm not saying I'd put him in the top 5, but I'd put him in the top 10. And that's before I even knew United. I didn't think United were going to sign him. So also, if I was being asked what midfielder would be perfect for Ten Hag when he takes over Manchester United, I would have obviously mentioned people who are good defensive-minded midfielders, but Frenkie de Jong would have been one of the first people I said as well, because he just suits the way that Ten Hag wants to play. And as much as we moan about some of these players not being good enough from last season, and we are quite rightly concerned that you're trying to turn... I mean, Rangnick couldn't do it. Like, they just didn't have the brains to play a high press, high possession brand of football. That's going to be Erik Ten Hag's problem when he tries and works with people like Maguire and Bruno and McTominay and Fred and Rashford and everybody else. He's got to really work hard. But if you give him Frenkie de Jong, there's a question mark over those players I've just mentioned as to whether they can play that brand of football. You bring Frenkie de Jong in, you know he can play it. And I suppose in that way, can you get McTominay and Fred and Bruno to play the Ten Hag way? It's a big question mark, isn't it? Can you get Frenkie de Jong to play that? Of course you can, because he does it. Well, it's worth 70 million, isn't it? Yeah, it is. The wages are a concern, but you know he can drop straight into the team. Imagine how much the total fee plus contract and signing would cost, probably in excess of 100 million, says Mo. Look, I can't move away from that, Mo. I don't think anybody can move away from that. This is a big risk because of the financials involved. If we were getting de Jong on a free, I don't think anyone would say a word. It's a big risk for a new manager to come in and replicate what Mourinho did. Mourinho came in and spent loads on Pogba. Did it work? Well, he won a Europa League, he won a Carabao Cup. But did it work when the standards are to do better than that? We'll wait and see. The wages frighten me, but it's better than nothing, says Joel. And typical of United, always trying to pacify fans when the heat is on. Look, the timing is good. It was a terrible Friday. It's been a terrible start to the transfer window. But this was always going to happen, and I don't think United have manipulated this to take a negative and turn it into a positive. As I said, Barcelona have decided when this deal happens. Nobody else. Not de Jong. He doesn't want it to happen. Not Man United. They'd love to have done it 2 weeks ago. Barcelona are the ones that have said, you can have de Jong, and you can have him at this price, but it can't happen until the end of the month when we've sorted a few things out. Signings and financial things. We haven't been negotiating for 8 weeks. We haven't. We've been waiting. That's what's happened. But It is a big step forward. Personal terms done with De Jong. It's going to be expensive. His wages will be big, very big. But that is basically acceptance from De Jong to come to Manchester United. I think this fee will get announced in the next few days, and then that's deal done. And then the week after it, it'll be official announcement holding up the new shirt. It's up to you if you go and buy it. I mean, personally, I'm going to wait and see what Manchester United achieve in this transfer window before I start saying it's a good window. We're way past being able to say this is a good window if you buy a brilliant player. We bought Cristiano Ronaldo and Varane and Sancho last year. It didn't make it a good window because we neglected the midfield, and let's see if we do that again. Safe to say we can all have a good week next week, says Therese. I hope so, and I think United do want to deliver it. People don't understand. We didn't just buy a player, we bought an ally for Ten Hag, says Reeves. Look, Reeves, I agree. I think the signing of De Jong is absolutely perfect in so many ways for Erik Ten Hag. The risk is the wages and the fee. That's the risk. Should we be buying a player for that amount of money on those wages when actually this is meant to be a massive rebuild? Well, Erik Ten Hag believes yes, we should, because he wants this player to be fundamental to that rebuild. And a lot of you, look, there's a risk he won't adapt to the Premier League, to be fair, but if he does, and I think he will, a lot of people are going to go, what a player, because he will be so fundamental. Do you think De Jong's huge salary could be used as an incentive for current players to pull their finger out and try to work towards one themselves, says Adam? Hopefully. Obviously going to be high wages, but I think Pogba's and Cavani's wage will cover it, says David Kennedy. We have freed up some wages, yes. Okay, right, that's where we are with De Jong. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner, we're going to get a lot of breaking news coming up over the next 2 weeks, so make sure you subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner, get involved with the channel. Where are we with everybody else? A lot of people are interested what happens after this deal, because to be honest with you, that's where we are. We want this De Jong deal done, and then we want to move on to more deals. United are insistent that there are other deals to be done, and they're confident that they can be done. I suppose the next one we need to talk about is Eriksen and then Antony. In relation to Eriksen, I think the big update I saw today on Eriksen was from TalkSport, who've been quite good this transfer window. They're saying that Manchester United have offered Eriksen a contract. It's believed he's turned it down. However, what I understand is that's not a definitive no. There may be an increase in the offer. Again, big wages probably. But the issue Eriksen's got is that Man United do want to give him the time. It is embarrassing for the club that we're having to basically persuade a player to not go to Brentford and stay and come to Manchester United. But again, this is Erik Ten Hag saying to the club that he wants this player. I agree. Do we desperately need another attacking midfielder? I don't think we do. I think we need other positions. But Erik Ten Hag wants this player, and United are doing their best to get him. If he turns us down, he turns us down. This deal is comparable to Di Maria, not Pogba, says Mo. That's a bit of a worrying comparison. And yeah, so we'll have to wait and see what happens in relation to that one. But Eriksen, I don't think there's any massive rush from Manchester United, to be honest. There was a time, very nearly said I think that Eriksen will be our first signing. I'm not so sure. I'd still think that De Jong may well be that first signing, but certainly with Eriksen, he could make his mind up this afternoon. He might wait another week, and obviously it's a difficult decision for him. I just detect with Eriksen that he's waiting for another offer. He knows what he's got from Brentford. He knows what he's got from United. And I feel with Eriksen, he's been waiting for Spurs or somebody else to come in and offer him London-based Champions League football. And, you know, probably that's not going to happen. But I do sense that he is a little bit conflicted on what he should do. He may well be looking at what's going on at United as well, and going, which we'll talk about in a minute in relation to Ronaldo, because there's a big update on Ronaldo. But look, we'll have to wait and see. On Antony, what I can tell you about Antony, and we've always been, look, I wish we were getting the info that we were getting in relation to Raphinha and Sterling and Rice around Man United players, because the people I've been speaking to are giving me information on other players that Man United aren't linked to, and it's been very good about Raphinha to Arsenal and Sterling to Chelsea and Rice potentially going to Chelsea now. But Antony we've always had good information on, and in relation to Antony, he desperately wants to come to Manchester United. He is on the priority list for Erik Ten Hag. I believe we will sign Antony. As I said, if you like percentages, I still say 80%. But there's no doubt that Ajax are playing a hard game. And they are saying, look, you are coming to us late to buy a player when we've sold half our team. If you want to buy this player, you're going to have to pay a lot of money. And realistically, they are quoting a price that is the same as De Jong. It's 70, 80 million euros. Really, Man United should be paying 50 million for Antony. I think that's the fair price. I'd like to get him cheaper, of course. But I think 50 million, which is about 60 million euros, that's what we should pay. I don't think Ajax will hold out for 80 million or 70 million. I think that's sort of like, we want big money. But I think that we will get Antony. I think Antony wants to come. And I think Ajax will do a deal. And I think it will involve add-ons. And I think we will pay around... I think we'll pay somewhere between 40 and 50 million pounds with add-ons. So I think we will pay around 50 million euros with add-ons. That's what I think will happen. And I do think we'll get him. But it could be a long drawn-out affair because Ajax may make it difficult for us. So we will see. But I do expect us to get Antony. Neymar is considering a departure from PSG. I wouldn't take him, no, Sultan. I think he's the wrong type of player. And people going to meltdown about this. It's just my opinion. If you've got a different opinion, great. Why do you have to tweet Goldbridge don't know ball because he doesn't want Neymar? I will explain it to you. Neymar is one of the world's best players. Absolutely. But I've watched a lot of Neymar. I know what his personality's like. Do you want Neymar playing in a United side that's got, such a massive rebuild to do over the next 3 years? He's coming towards the end of his career. He wants to deliver now. I mean, I just think it's a recipe for disaster. I don't think we need that type of player. There's no doubt he's brilliant, but the money it would take to get Neymar needs to be spent on something else. We have to rebuild. We can't keep buying the icing and not baking the cake, and that's why I wouldn't take Neymar. At no point have I said I wouldn't take Neymar because I think he's shit. That's not what I've said. I just don't think he's the right type of player and an expenditure for what we need at the moment. Vol, welcome to Members Club. Harrison, thank you for the super chat. Pogba is on 170 grand a week with Juve. Another reminder of how incompetent United is when it comes to wages, says Abdullah. Would be great to get Kante and Ziyech from Chelsea. 60 million deal for the two, says Son of Krypton. No, I want Antony, mate. I don't want Ziyech. If we ended up with Ziyech, again, you're going for plan C and not plan A. I am fully for De Jong coming to United, but this is a massive risk, and if he flops, other players expect high salaries, which worsens our salary issue, says Mo. Welcome to the Members Club, that other Josh. If you want to join the Members Club, by the way, get your badge next to your name and exclusive content. You can do that by clicking the join button, which is at the top of the live chat. So yeah, I do expect Antony to happen very quickly. I don't know what's happening with the centre-back. Lisandro Martinez is heavily linked to Arsenal now. I've not heard anything on that. I know I've been well briefed on Rafinha to Arsenal, but I don't know what's happening with Lisandro Martinez. It could be paper talk. It might be to get United to go for Martinez. Will we still get Timber? I don't know what's happening with the centre-back, so I refuse to give up on Timber, and I refuse to say we're going to get Martinez. I don't know what's happening with the centre-back at all. We may not get one. Who else? I had heard from Jonathan Northcroft, a journalist, that we're still in for Malacia, but I thought he'd gone to Lyon. And Denzel Dumfries, I still think is an option. I'd love to have a second midfielder to talk to you about. I don't. I'd love to know if we're going for another striker, but I don't think we are. So at the moment, I think it's very much Eriksen, Antony and De Jong are the only three that you can really talk about. City get Haaland, Phillips, Alvarez all by June for bargains. We take 8 weeks to sign one overpriced midfielder who doesn't want to come, says Cold Fries. Ronaldo. Again, I put a tweet out yesterday saying that Mendes is putting Ronaldo's name around Europe. What did we get today from Fabrizio Romano? Saying it's true that Mendes has spoken about Ronaldo with Chelsea and with Bayern Munich, but the message from Manchester United is that Cristiano Ronaldo is not for sale and that Erik ten Hag wants him as part of his plans for next year. But Cristiano Ronaldo wants assurances and a vision of an exciting future at Manchester United. And I think we can all establish the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo, very much like Manchester United fans at the moment, welcome to the Members Club, Jason Daly, very much like you, is frustrated. He's sat on holiday, he's looking at Twitter, he's like, what's going on at United? This team, this dressing room, which was crap last year, they expect me to go back training for the new season with the same old crap. Where's the new signings? Because Ronaldo's experienced. He's one of the world's greatest ever players. He knows that no matter who the manager is, he knows what the players are. And he knows you can't polish a turd and you can't use a Harry Potter magic spell and make people play a brand of football that they can't play. So he knows that we need signings. And Manchester United have got to start delivering those signings. So I think the next couple of weeks will be big. I expect Ronaldo to stay, but Mendes wouldn't be doing his job if he wasn't finding options for Ronaldo to present to him. I mean, if he went to Chelsea, it'd be unbelievable. But I don't think United will. I don't think Manchester United will want to sell Ronaldo, especially because we didn't get Darwin Núñez. We didn't actually get a striker. We can't afford to lose Cristiano Ronaldo because he's one of the world's greatest players still, and he's our greatest player. But we can't afford to lose him anyway because we don't have a striker. And can I just say as well, you're probably not interested in this, but the next 2 weeks are going to be really interesting because some players are back training tomorrow. Anthony Martial, Axel Tuanzebe, Phil Jones, Eric Bailly, Brandon Williams, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. There's more. They're back in training. What is their future? Because you're going to get absolutely bombarded with winning team pictures from midday tomorrow. Man United social media guy, he's running around his garden with his top round his head saying, I'm back in business tomorrow, I've got these winning team pictures, and we're going to get bombarded with that. And we're going to get bombarded with people smiling that some of you are going to go, I don't even want them to be here. So it's very important that United start to utilise this transfer window in a positive way. I'd like to see some players moving out of the club as well. I really, really would like to see some players moving out of the club. Okay, let's have a look what people are saying. There's a couple of other bits I just wanted to bring in as well. Eriksen, we've spoken about. Antony fee. There was a question somebody said about, do you think there's a chance of another club coming in for Frenkie de Jong? No. Barcelona have tried to stir up interest from other clubs. Man City were offered him. Bayern Munich were offered him. Basically, everybody's been offered Frenkie de Jong. He's up for sale. And that's why United bit and got interested in it. But there's a very, 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 very unlikely that anyone would swoop in now, because if they wanted De Jong, everyone knew he was available. Whether you're Liverpool, Chelsea, people are very well aware that Frenkie de Jong is available. And for whatever reason, maybe not the priority position that a lot of clubs want. Maybe they don't want to pay those wages. Maybe they don't want to pay those fees. The reality is, if we're absolutely honest, the reason the Man Cities and the Liverpools and the Chelseas and the Bayern Munichs haven't gone in for Frenkie de Jong is because Manchester United are in for Frenkie de Jong. And what do Manchester United do to clubs? They chuck ridiculous amounts of money at the player and the club, and it scares other clubs off. And Man City, they've bought Haaland. They're going to get Cucurella. They've got Phillips. Chelsea have got their own targets as well. They probably look at it and go, look, De Jong's a really good player, but do we actually need a player in that position? And do we want to be paying him over 300 grand a week? And the answer to that question is no, they don't. Mark, if we can't get anyone from Ajax and are only looking at one more signing, would you try for De Ligt, or is that crazy talk, says Sean from Ireland? Well, De Ligt to Chelsea. Keep an eye on that. Yeah, De Ligt to Chelsea. Keep an eye on that. They're after a centre-back, and that looks like it's a deal that they would go and do. I don't think Erik ten Hag would turn his nose down at taking De Ligt. Look, you never know. You never know with Manchester United. Like, there may well be a signing that we didn't see coming, and that would be a signing that if it did happen, you'd go, well, we should have seen that coming, because again, it's another player that's played for Erik ten Hag. I've got to say, I wouldn't be absolutely comfortable if our summer transfer activity was Antony, De Jong, De Ligt, and another Ajax player. I'd be like, come on, what are we trying to rebuild? Ajax, like there needs to be. The scouting's got to be better. I think we're going to suffer this summer, as I said, because De Jong, Ten Hag has got to go and get what he knows, because I don't think he trusted the previous list that United gave him in May. But I think it would be nice if we started scouting a little bit better and a little bit wider. Do you think Axel will suit Ten Hag's style of football, says Ryan? The big problem with Axel Tuanzebe for me is I like him, I really do, but why has he not been successful at Napoli? Why did he lose his place at Aston Villa? I just think, why is Axel Tuanzebe suddenly going to become one of the world's best centre-backs under Erik ten Hag when he hasn't been able to do it in Serie A, he hasn't been able to do it at Aston Villa? There is a player there that we need to sell for about £10 million and let him go and have a career somewhere else. I don't believe he will ever be the centre-back we all wanted him to be at Manchester United, which was at times you hoped he was going to be our centre-back for the next 10 years and could, hopefully secure his place as one of our better centre-backs in our history. But I don't think we can do those sort of things in short. And Axel Tuanzebe doesn't just represent it. I think there's a few players that represent it where we're sort of like going, can Ten Hag turn water into wine? And I don't think that's what I want Ten Hag to do. I want him to make certain players better, but I don't want to let the Glazers off the hook where Ten Hag comes in to turn every player into a decent player. Like, he's got to be given a sufficient budget to bring players in as well. We're crying out for new players. I'm firmly in the camp that you cannot turn that squad into anything relevant. Like, you can't. Absolutely not. I don't care how good the coach is. There's no doubt that Pep and Klopp are a better coach than Ten Hag. If you gave Pep and Klopp this team, they wouldn't win the league. They can't do it. It's impossible with that set of players to win the league. You've got to buy players. Doesn't matter how good the coach is, you've got to buy players. So I don't know why people start talking about, do you think Erik Ten Hag can make Tuanzebe and Mengi and Brandon Williams and all these other players superstars? No, I don't, because I don't believe that squad is good enough as it is. Maybe one or two of them, but not the entire squad, but maybe one or two of these players can be improved. Alanga's a player that's got to get a lot better. I mean, I like Elanga, but I think he's almost fallen into the category where people think he's some sort of superstar. I wasn't massively impressed with Elanga last year. I thought he had moments, and I really loved the way that Rangnick threw him in, and I think he's got a moment in him, Elanga. He always seems to pop up with a goal. But there's huge strides he needs to take forward in his game. And to be honest with you, it's only because Rashford was so bad that I preferred Elanga. I don't think Elanga was amazing, but he's a young lad and he's allowed not to be amazing. That's the sort of player I want to see develop with Erik Ten Hag's coaching. And there's a few more like that I'm more Mabry, Garnacho. They're the players that I want Ten Hag to be developing. I'm not really bothered about the Tuanzebes and the Brandon Williams and people like that, because I think really they should be moved on, and that could be money coming in. But we'll see. Ten Hag's going to have to make his mind up and have his decisions, and I'm sure a lot of these players will be very eager. I think you'll see a lot more effort in training tomorrow than we saw at most games last season, because I think these players are playing for their futures, to be blunt. Hi, Mark. Sangari would be an interesting player to drop in our midfield. Whether we'll go for a second midfielder or not, mate, I don't know. I would like to, but Elanga is hard working lad, but he doesn't have that quality right now. I agree, Rudrish. I think there's a lot more to come from Elanga, and I think he had a really good. I think some of the criticism of Elanga was very unfair, because he was sort of thrown into the deep end in one of the worst United sides I've ever seen, and a young player. Look at the class of '92. They were nurtured by Schmeichel, Steve Bruce, Cantona, Roy Keane, Ince, amazing players, Dennis Irwin, Mark Hughes. They were nurtured by club legends. Elanga's dropping into that team, and it's like he's surrounded by people who can't be arsed. So we need to be patient with people like that, and Garnacho and Mabry. It'll be interesting how many of them go on loan though. Mark, what about a CDM? We still have a massive hole in the defence. Don't want to hear anything about McFred from fans who support this, says Mark Friedman. I really think the biggest mistake United are staring down at the moment is not buying a defensive-minded midfielder. At the moment, we're just not linked to one, and if we don't buy one, I will predict at the start of the season the same thing that I predicted last year, that, look, we've done good business, but I can't see how we're going to do that well when we haven't got a defensive-minded midfielder in that midfield, because games are won and lost in the midfield, and you're not going to dominate possession at Anfield, at Stamford Bridge, at the Emirates, at Spurs, at Brighton. You're going to need somebody in those games who can just win the ball back and organise and be physical. And I don't mean McTominay and Fred, because they can't do it. So I think we have to be looking at a defensive-minded midfielder, and at the moment we're just not. And I think that could be... United seem allergic to solving that problem, and for me it's problem number one, and it was problem number one last year and the year before, and we just keep ignoring it. I hope we're going to do something about it. Mark, with Ronaldo agent asking around, seems to me Ronaldo is using him to force the issue of getting the players by Ronaldo. Can't blame him for doing that, says Amir. I'm completely relaxed about Ronaldo's agent asking clubs about Ronaldo, because that's what a good agent does. It doesn't mean Ronaldo wants to leave, it doesn't mean Ronaldo will leave, but I think it's about having options. Because what if United don't buy good players and Ronaldo's like, I don't want to be here? what are my options? That's all that's happening there. It's nothing more sinister than that. Ronaldo's not looking to leave. Mendes isn't trying to force him out of the club. He's just doing it because if United don't deliver some ambition for Ronaldo to get his teeth into, i.e. good signings, then Ronaldo will probably say, look, you lied to me. I don't want to be here. I've got options. Let me go. And I think that's all that's happening here. It's just what a good agent does. A good agent will find you options and say, look, if we need to, we've got these options. I think that's all that's happening. And yeah, it probably is a warning to Manchester United because they don't want to sell Ronaldo, but they've got to show the ambition to keep a player like that. I don't think a CDM always needs to be destroyer. De Jong is our CDM. Look at Busquets at Barca. Abhishek, will you please go and do your research on Frenkie de Jong? I'm tired of that. He's not a CDM. If we stick Frenkie de Jong in front of the back four, shielding the back four, you've just lost the two biggest things about his game. Carrying the ball and creation. Like carrying the ball, moving with the ball, dribbling. These are things that de Jong is a brilliant player at. Creativity, he's brilliant at it. You stick him as a CDM in front of your back four, you've lost that. And Erik Ten Hag said it himself. So I don't know why people think Frenkie de Jong is going to sit there in front of our back four. And also, remember, we're not going to play with one holding midfielder. We're going to play with two midfielders. So Frenkie de Jong will be a one of two. Frenkie de Jong is not particularly physical and he's not particularly intense in his tackling. I think next to Frenkie, you need somebody who is. Whether that's a Kante, whether it's a, some people have said Sangari. You need somebody next to de Jong who's just a little bit more put their foot in. And then I think you've got a really good midfield too. We didn't have a sports science division until Rangnick came in, did we? This rebuild is never ending because it's cold. And Mark, I'm hoping the Rooney stuff is a scare tactic to make us do business. He will decide till end of the window. So Ronnie stuff, not Rooney. So I'm praying there is hope, says Daniel Kirk. Look, I've always feared Ronaldo might go, but it could be an illogical. Look, I'm probably just, panicking over nothing. I think logically he will stay at the club. Anyway, look, it was only meant to be a quick video. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. We are back at 8 o'clock unless something happens. And I do think things are going to start happening over the next couple of weeks. So make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Big development with Frenkie de Jong. I think we all know it's going to happen. I think it will happen in the next few days in relation to deal done and fee agreed. Official announcement holding the shirt next week. But terms are agreed. Big push forward now. And to be honest, we're just in the hands of Barcelona when they want this to happen. I would predict that Lewandowski's got to be going to Barcelona before they announce Frenkie de Jong's left, because I think, or Koundé, I think they want to get a deal done before they announce they've made some money. So we'll see. Could it be Ten Hag doesn't think he needs one as everyone at the club loves McTominay? Says Amit. Well, look, I don't want to finish the show on McTominay, but Mourinho loved McTominay. Carrick loved McTominay. Solskjaer loved McTominay. Rangnick loved McTominay. Why would you think that Ten Hag won't love McTominay? He'll be talking about how great McTominay is, isn't he? But maybe he can make McTominay great, because all I ever hear is how great he is and we never see it. Maybe he's going to turn him into this great midfielder. But yeah, if that's our defensive midfielder next season, I do have concerns. But maybe he can be coached to be better. Thanks for watching. Take care. Smash a like and I'll speak to you at 8 o'clock.